We are now broadcasting live on YouTube Live and Google. So who knows? We're not. We didn't hide this, so it's a distinct possibility somebody could show up in the middle of this, which could just make it more interesting.
Amen.
Okay. So we're here with FJ Shark.
Yay.
Really, you're gonna yay yourself.
Thank you. Thanks, Mom.
What you're saying is we need what was it? The wasn't the screen share, it was the Hangouts at the control room. What app was that? We added it the other day. Let's see. It was the Hangouts.
Rent a fan club?
Yeah, pretty much. The Google Effects, that's what it was.
All right.
So can we do this while we're broadcasting? I think we can. So the Google Effects, yes, we can do headwear. We can put that's just for me, the background. So, okay, so now we could do again something like, okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with FJ Shark, esteemed author. Hey, they love you here, Shark.
All those people in the front row. Amazing.
All those people in the front. Yeah,
we only have one row here. It's the front row.
How did those people
That's
get
it.
into my room? Okay, anyway. Let me have a little grape crush here.
Never get too much of grape crush.
You never get too much grape crush.
But those bottles behind the bar are just peeking out at you.
I know they're annoying.
They're getting closer.
They're just, if they are, let me know, because I'm gonna be like, hey, what the hell's going on? We don't want that. That could be bad. Okay, 1, 2, 3. We are here with FJ Shark, author of How to Be the Jerk Women Love. Show book here.
Start Fog Machine.
Right, Start Fog Machine. This is a big production. I am Darren O'Neill. You know FJ Shark. He wrote the book. This is his YouTube channel. So if you don't know who he is, you've gotten
Why did you subscribe?
Right, you've gotten a lot older since you subscribed. It's possible you now have dementia or something like that, and we apologize if that's the case. But if you remember this book, the
in the Smithsonian,
right? There's still copies of it around there. Basically, this little web series we're doing is going to kind of update what's in this book for the modern age. Because when the book was written, it's hard to believe this because I know we don't look that old. But when this book was written, we didn't have texting, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have Snapchat, we didn't have Twitter, we didn't have a lot of things that we have now, Shark. So what we want to do here is, one, we wanted to let people know you were still alive.
Thank you.
So they, for those 100 that have been really waiting and that have been subscribing to the channel, this is the big payoff because you're the first to see, one, the Shark is alive, and two, he's ready to impart some wisdom upon you. We've been doing a podcast called Man Cave Confidential. You can find that here as well on YouTube, and you can find it at mancaveconfidential.com, where we talk about things guys talk about, and we always end up talking about this book at one point or another, and I've given you a lot of grief about the fact that it's, it kind of was written on a stone tablet because, things, the technology has changed now, so we're going to look to accomplish a few things in this little series. We want to be quick. We want to update
rapid fire.
Right, things that are in the book. We don't want to waste a lot of time because there's one thing you and I have talked about, and that is a lot of people in this marketplace now, which still exists, the dating guru, dating books and websites and all that. There's tons of them out there, and one of your biggest pet peeves with a lot of them is they waste a lot of your time. They don't really get to the crux of the matter. So your concept is kind of to get in, get out, and impart the wisdom.
Well, I was at a talk in sound bites because I had the good fortune of being interviewed on radio, TV, whatever, and they don't let you tell these long drawn out stories. You had to have sound bites that got to the point and something relatable. That's why I had good examples of things that people already knew and applied them to the dating world. And then people were able to understand a much more complicated issue and reduce it down to something that was simple and easy and they could use right away because they already, knew what baseball was or something about the stock market or whatever other example I'd use. So that way it worked out. And instead of just coming up with a bunch of formulas that your basic person doesn't even know what 90% of a dollar is. So as we talked about earlier, but they're not going to be able to figure out these weird formulas that you need a calculus degree to figure out and then remember all that in the moment. It has to be something that you use right away. Like we always say about the, quit stopping yourself ideas. If you could have all the information, but if you don't follow through on it or don't know how to use it, well, then you're just going to wind up with a basement full of information or a hard drive full of information now.
Right, which is true. Because back, again, when you were originally selling the book, the landscape was completely different for how you would sell the book, being that you had very limited time to do so.
Right.
You were on a radio show, you had a few minutes. You were on a television show, and they give you a certain amount of time to do it. And that just now you have the internet, you have unlimited time. You can impart your wisdom in ways that that give you a much better way of reaching out to somebody.
Right. Well, say somebody had, maybe if they're lucky, 5 good points to cover, and they turn that into a 10 or 20-hour program, and it takes them 4 or 5 CDs or DVDs or something, or hours just to get to that, just to kind of warm up. And some famous writer, I think it was Henry David Thoreau, said, I try to eliminate the parts that people skip. So, we're going to get rid of all the stuff people kind of brush over and just skim, and get to the meat and potatoes of it, and do this in more of a rapid fire approach.
Right. And now the other thing is the world has changed to the point to where the way information with the internet, again, has changed how people are expected to to offer things. And rather than offering things necessarily in book form, you have podcasting, you have YouTube, you have different ways to get out there. And a lot of people don't realize the people on YouTube, we want to be straightforward about this, make money. So if you're wondering why, this isn't a big sales pitch. This is the actual information that other people are charging you for. You just decided to go a different way and roll the dice and figure if you put the information out there, people are going to show up, they're going to watch, and you're going to get paid, and they don't have to pay you a dime. You just have to understand there's going to be some, advertising with YouTube, or, they're going to do a pre-roll or something like that. But that's your cost of the package. Now, you don't have to go spend $1,000 to get the package.
Right, but I have nothing against putting out other books, other courses, doing other things, because some people learn better that way, or they're just not going to be here or want to learn on YouTube. So yes, I will have courses available in other things and other means, and that's just for them. But no, I don't like charging the $5,000 programs and things like that. But
well, we're going for a $20,000 program. That's a completely different thing. Don't you worry about that. So really, this was just kind of what else do we need to update people with before we actually jump in, which will be in the next segment about, we're going to do kind of a rapid fire thing. We're going to pick something randomly from the book. And we're
just going to skim through it and point.
But is there anything else you need to update people on what's been going on in Sharkland over the past few years? Let's just say few years.
We'll go back to, my son is now 18 years old, and over the last summer we went to Indie PopCon because he's interested in all the YouTube channels with, like you said, all these internet superstars, celebrities, people that you and I might just pass by on the street and not even know that they look like a celebrity, and they just look like an average guy standing there. And I probably stood next to a few of them getting pizza in line at the convention center, and this guy's got 5 million followers and subscribers on YouTube. That's the new medium. So it's just interesting to see that what people are attracted to and what they keep going for. So, but people always want to be entertained. And I hope that we, get through that. This is not just about education, but it's more, was it edutainment?
Right. It's the infusion of education along with entertainment. At least that would be the goal, where we're not here to be boring. We're used to doing a podcast. The idea is entertaining first, but in this case, we're going to be very laser focused on a certain subject. This is covering your work, and but it's not meant to be boring. If it's boring, you should probably go somewhere else and just email us. You guys suck.
Well, if people can relate to the information, they will sit through a reading of War and Peace if they think it's about them. So you have to be willing to give that and not just make it about yourself, but make it relatable to the people.
Amen to that. So on that note, let's get on to the next chapter.
Sounds good.
Bum, bum, bum. Trying to level out this volume because for some reason I'm only getting one. So when I'm talking, anytime you just go like, it goes back to you, and it's like back and forth. It's like, why am I only getting one green dot, motherfuckers?
Where's my green dot?
You're like, I moved you down.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm maxed out, and this only affects the audio.
Because I had to turn you up. I mean, that's why I looked down that time. I'm like,
it's low, right?
I was doing that at 50. I put you at like 64. I'm like,
because I'm bringing like I'm only at like 1. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I mean, obviously we need to maybe bitch this bitch up a little bit here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Technical difficulties. See, I could jack that all the way, and that just sounds way too much. I need to like, where are we pulling this from here? Bum 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 bum. Uno, dos, tres. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I mean, that's like bizarre. I mean, that's just weird.
These are the outtakes. This is a whole nother section. Video 2. Okay, that's done. Now we're on to 3.
We're number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Give me fire, give me flower, give my mother fire. See, if now I'm showing like 2. I brought you down like all the way. How many are we showing for you? I guess all the way is really all the way. That's muting you, so that's going to be less.
My new autobiography, All the Way, is all the way.
Right. It's a little less useful to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, or 11, or 12, or 13. Is there a way to adjust the audio on the MacBook? I would think that would be up in these.
Now you're frozen. You're frozen. Now everything's frozen.
Yeah. Turn camera off. Turn camera on.
I'm not frozen.
You're absolutely not frozen. Settings.
This is like FJ Shark unplugged at home.
I wonder if it's the studio thing. I wonder if going back to voice would help here. Let's see. Bum, 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 bum. 1, 2, 3. Maybe that's a little better because that's at least getting me up to 3 now when I talk, which is about where it should be. So what do we got from you?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
How many are you showing down on your little greenies? How many greenies you got?
I'm okay. I got in the little one. I got 2 all the time and 3 when I talk like this.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I think we're more leveled off at this point.
Yeah.
At least we're more leveled off, so that should keep things where we need to be. So are we picking something at random?
We are doing random. And if it doesn't work, then we cut that and we go to something else or whatever. We work with it.
About the author.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone who, without them, this book would have been done 2 years earlier.
About the author. He's a dick. Okay, everybody. Next is
next. That was easy.
That was the easiest. That was the easiest segment we've ever done. I don't understand why, motherfucker. Woo!
This is at home.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that wasn't going to overload the other thing now because that would be bad.
The apple is smoking.
That would be bad.
Smoke is coming out of the drive. What does that mean? Oh, just talk softer.
Just talk softer. Talk nicely to it. Okay.
Put on your AM radio voice for this one.
You want to do the NPR thing? Okay. That should be the next segment. If I hit the music, actually, that would be maybe an easy way for me to notice in the on the audio recording.
Oh, you got one of those clicky things so it spikes or no?
You could just do a. And that'll be in the audio, and then we'll see that is there. So, okay, so let's do the NPR thing.
Well, yeah. And so how are we going to know that it's the next one? Like if I've got nothing else, we just do our normal talking, and as soon as we figure out that like there's no other point, then we're both like, then
When
there'll
we're
be this
both sitting there quiet for
this
like
flat
34
line.
minutes, like,
Yeah.
Are they frozen?
Wait, there's something blinking in the back. This is live.
Yeah, the clock is changing and everything. We're just going, I don't know.
Technical difficulties. Please stand by. So we write that on a piece of paper, hold it up.
Okay, here we go. Welcome back to Book Talk with FJ Sharp.
Book Talk.
I am Darren O'Neill. We're talking about the classic book, How to Be the Jerk Women Love. The shark has challenged us to open up the book to any page, and he would comment and talk. Chapter 11.
Stump the shark. Got it.
Do you remember what chapter 11 is?
Well, I just heard you say sell. So selling your pickle?
Selling your pickle. I think
I'm
that
doing
sounds
this
like
without a
something
net.
that might be illegal in today's, if you put this ad on Craigslist, selling your pickle. People might think something a little different.
But we might have some accounting teachers who we've had in the past still checking out Craigslist looking for a good time using our tuition money.
Right. Little did we know at the time that, your teachers at the Catholic high school in the greater Chicago area like to, let's just say he was putting some young girls through school by purchasing their services
and stimulating the economy a few dollars at a time.
He was stimulating their economy, and they were stimulating something of his. That's the bottom line, right?
It goes full circle.
So what is selling your pickle? What is this? Well, what was it then? What is it now?
Well, it shows that people sometimes pay a premium price for things, and even though there's really no difference in them. Meaning, that was a story about a deli that had pickles, of all things, up in that little jar with all the juice on the deli. And there were different prices for different ones. And I don't know the exact pricing, but say there was a difference of like 30 cents each. And I asked the butcher or whatever, the guy was behind the counter, and I said, well, what's the difference? Is it a different brand or what? And he says, well, no, there's really no difference, because I saw him reloading the pickles, took them out of one jar, filled the first, filled the second, filled the third. And I'm like, aren't those different? They're all different prices. He goes, well, some people just like paying more for quality. And I'm like, that taught me a lot about selling. I'm like, so yeah, the person thinks they're getting more, or maybe they'll appreciate the lower price or middle of the road price when it's compared to other things. It's like, well, at least I'm not a cheapskate and getting the cheap ones. These at least taste good. And for a treat, I'm going to buy the ones that are the higher value sometimes and treat myself. Little did the public know they were getting the same pickle. So what was that one book we talked about that?
Predictably Irrational,
yes,
by an MIT professor, Dan Ari. Oh, I'm gonna forget his last name, but obviously we speak way too much when you're like, hey, you know that book we talked about? It's like, yes, Predictably Irrational. Look it up.
But that was probably a good, that's well before its time. This butcher was, he had it down. He should have wrote the book. Maybe it was.
Well, he understood that there is, and it's interesting because I know a few different people that own restaurants, and I've done a lot of research into the way things work at restaurants. And almost always, for better restaurants anyway, the second most expensive thing on the menu is the one that they're making the most money on, because they know people, especially if you're out on a date or you're trying to impress somebody, or you're, like you said, treating yourself. That was a big thing in Parks and Recreation. A great segment on the show. Treat yourself. If you wanted to go out and treat yourself, you're like, you know what? I'm going to feel bad getting the, whatever steak, whatever's the most money. Right. You're going to feel bad buying that. So you're going to bring that down one notch. You're going to buy the second most expensive thing on the menu. And that's really exactly what they wanted you to do.
Right.
And that makes sense with the pickles. It's hilarious, though, that he would refill them in front of customers.
Even if he just lowered it down behind there, I couldn't see what he was doing. But
like, what's the difference?
Well, the point with that was, again, I used like a car reference as well. The way a Lamborghini might cost 10 times at least more than the average car. That gets you where you want to go. It still has four wheels touching the ground, still has a steering wheel, still is a means of transportation. Why are some people willing to pay 10 times more for the same thing? Why are some people, going to pay 10 times more for a Rolex watch? It still tells the time. Relating that to jerks have a higher price, a higher perceived value on themselves. Women think they're getting some great deal. They're paying a premium price, and in reality, they're probably not getting a good deal, obviously. And jerks are afraid to raise the price of themselves. And because with their lower self-esteem, the nice guys are going to sit there and say, well, I don't want to sort of like be an inconvenience. I don't want her to think that I'm arrogant. I don't want her to think that I'm selfish. All these things that are creating attraction and creating those sexual triggers with the jerk, the nice guy refuses to do. Whereas with the jerk, he's willing to do all those things, and therefore that he becomes the sexy, expensive, exotic sports car.
So basically, you want to imagine yourself as the pickle. And you want to be the pickle. This is very Zen, everybody. Go back to my NPR voice. Be the pickle. But it's something where it is that really does come down. It makes perfect sense when you put it into the container of self-esteem, that you're seeing all these, if all guys are pickles. I mean, it's a great analogy for various reasons. But all guys are, pickles, and it's like you're putting yourself in the one that's the cheapest, that you don't think anybody will want because it's the lowest quality, when in reality all pickles are the same, man.
Right. And you think as a nice guy that, well, I won't charge so much. I'll be in that lower pickle jar in the end, giving people a great value, a great deal. When in reality, the premium pickle jar, say that 3 times real fast, had more pickles being sold out of it because people, as I said, thought that they were getting a higher perceived value. So just move your pickle over to that jar.
Well, yeah, it's the reason Starbucks is able to sell drinks for $3 to $5 a piece that you can make at home for like 30 to 50 cents a piece. That's the same kind of thing. But this is, the crux of the matter that we're boiling down to, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Professor Shark, is that, you work on that self-esteem and understand that you're probably putting the price on yourself way too low, and you're misunderstanding the way the game is played, and it changes as you get older. Obviously there's a different game, that women are looking for different things in high school and college than they are when they're in their late 20s and 30s, and that, and it's mainly, and it's a hard thing for a lot of guys to hear, but it's mainly their self-esteem that is keeping them from finding and dating the women that they want, because they're always putting themselves so far down the line that they're never going to think they're going to sell themselves to the quality of woman they want, right?
Correct. And a lot of the women who have lower self-esteem, might be even very beautiful, and they're wondering, I know guys are hitting on them. And they go with the jerk to raise their own self-esteem, because it's like, I'm going to date the high school quarterback who has this big self-confidence, big ego about him. And by being around him, I'll feel better about myself and my self-esteem will be raised. Whereas if I go with Mr. Nice Guy, who's way down, down the ladder on self-esteem, then it goes down. I think on MASH, Margaret Houlihan, she said, I could never marry somebody who doesn't outrank me.
Good old hot lips.
Good old hot lips, yes. So think about that. It's like that woman was, a major. So if you're trying to hit on her and you're a lieutenant or a captain, well, she's not going to go out with you or marry you. You have to be lieutenant, colonel, or general in order to get her attention. So apply that to the self-esteem ranks, and away you go. You decide your own rank. That's the beauty of it.
Right. You decide your own rank. You decide your own price. You decide which pickle jar you belong in. And the bottom line is, for anything in life, if you come out with a new product, you're not going to ever sell it to anybody if you don't bring it to market, if you don't put it in front of people and ask for the order. It's the old Zig Ziglar, ask for the order, ask for the order. And there's nearly not much different in the business world than there is from the personal relationships and dating world. You have to go out there and ask for the order, and you're never going to get a date with a hot woman if you don't go out and just ask them out. If you never do that, your chances of success are zero. I'm not saying your chances of success if you go out and ask 100 women is going to be, anything but zero. It still may be zero, but, let's just understand that if you get only 5% of the beautiful women to date you that you ask out, I can ask out 100 women in a day, so it's a numbers game, and it's not really an unsurmountable numbers game.
Right. Well, the putting anything in the sales atmosphere back in cold calling, we'd make 200 or 300 cold calls a day in order to get just 2 or 3 good leads. So yeah, you're at 1%. And if you had that 1%, you had a really good day.
Right. And that's the same thing with the dating. So understand that it is understand that it really is just a numbers game. And the bottom line is you got to sell your pickle, man. If you're not selling, you're never going to get the date. So it's we've understand now it's a self-esteem issue for the guys. Sell the pickle. Sell the pickle. So what are they going to do?
Sell the pickle. No, well, and end with the Wayne Gretzky Wayne Gretzky quote.
Say that quickly a few times.
Thank you. You'll always miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So
very wise.
Therefore, yes.
The great Gretzky.
Yes.
His daughter is hot. So go ask her out. Go sell your pickle to Wayne Gretzky's daughter. Feel free. Until the next episode, I'm Darren O'Neill.
I'm FJ Shark.
Later. Or something entirely not like that. Who knows?
That was good.
Sell your pickle, Sonny.
You want to do the intro and outro for each one, or just start talking?
We can kind of probably just start talking, I would assume. I don't think we need to. We can say hi, and then you don't need the full intro or anything. Right. I would not think.
Where are we now? Oh, we're on here. I'm going to flip a page. Let's see, page 36. Okay, yeah. I mean, just
what is page 36? Is it a good page? Do I want to be
and then
what's page 36? Who should I talk to now?
Yeah, and
it's
for when
Shark.
And for when we're leaving, we could just be like, on that note.
On that note, it's FJ Shark. Everybody, woo!
I mean, because that's
motherfucker.
That's what's gonna do it. The informal part.
It's informal. It's quick. It's down. It's dirty. It's down and dirty.
We're not setting up like couches and cameras with professionals. So let me explain what I'm going to do here. No, it's like no.
It's very important that you put your pickle in the jar. Let me understand this here. Let me understand this pickle thing, man. Why don't we do it in the road, Whitey? Why don't we do it in the road? The great Sam Kinison, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Why don't we do it in the road?
You know what we should do? All right.
What? You can tell me. I can listen. What?
One of these segments, like I said, edit them. Keep the original like this. Whatever's going to happen.
Right.
Keep the whatever segment that was and throw them one a day at the FJ Shark YouTube page. But then this is still the show. This is the don't edit anything here. Just let it keep going. This is the behind the camera stuff. That's so cool. This will be our highest viewed episode.
This is still the show. Oh, we're still on?
We're still on.
Okay, so this is when you stand up without pants on. You're just full dong in it, man. Like, oh yeah, camera. I forgot all about that.
I'm telling you, just leave it alone on this one.
Just leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
We're gonna just put this thing out there as the massive podcast.
Exactly.
If you can wait for one little bit at a time, or you can get it all in one really, really messed up segment.
Because we have the most fun as soon as the damn light goes off or it says off air, then we come up with comedy gold. It's like this is this is behind the scenes. This is deleted footage. This is stuff you have to buy the DVD for.
These are the kind of things we were taught at Brother Rice High School.
Hey,
always pay the prostitute up front
and don't negotiate.
Never negotiate. Never negotiate after the deal. You do not want to negotiate after the deal.
You have no leverage, especially when she has a knife.
Right. You need the leverage.
Yeah. Rule one: never negotiate with a woman holding a knife.
Right. That's one. Yeah, that's a pretty good.
I'd like it to write that down.
You're right. At that point, what you want to do is you just want to, get out as quick as you can. That's
I didn't hear that at Kairos, our religious retreat, as someone.
Right.
All the speeches we heard, nobody mentioned that.
Why didn't they tell us that information? It was very vitally important. It was vitally important to make sure that you do not piss off the prostitutes. We found that it was a bad idea to piss off the prostitutes after the deal's done.
We were too busy laughing that people were choking on the wine because it was burning their throat. Maybe they were the devil or something.
Right. Well, I love some of those high school stories. I love the Tom Rogers story about making up the whole thing about his dead girlfriend or whatever it was. That was, if that's not comedy gold, I don't know what is. I really don't. That seems to me like that would be comedy gold.
Yeah. But then the Lord got even with him and made him, gag on the wine. So I guess it all balanced out.
Right. That's like something right out of a fucking movie, man. When it's like the blood of Christ. Just like starts convulsing and all that. Pretty sure at some point there's a sign from God in there. I'm pretty sure there is.
Now in theaters, choking on the wine.
Choking on the wine. Okay, is there anything in this book about how to approach? Is there, like the best way to approach, the best way?
Might be somewhere along like premiums and discounts. I don't know what discounts. I think that's the 2 keys to entering a woman's mind. Probably like chapter 2 or something.
The 10 Commandments of Jerks.
And those should each be
a segment.
Each one should have their own little segment, even if it's for a minute or two. There's 10 free ones right there. 10, some you can go into a little more detail. Others, it's like pretty self-explanatory. Like, okay, we're done.
Let's try one. Let's try one of the commandments. Woo!
But we don't have to go in order or like release all 10 in a row. Do 2 and then go to something else.
That makes perfect sense. Let's do the 10 Commandments. And you guys are going to wait for like a year to get them all. You're just going to keep just putting them out slowly. We'll see how all this stuff actually edits up. It should be fun.
Yep.
Let's give me a little. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the FJ Sharks channel. And this is the first video you're watching. Get the hell out of here and go back to the beginning and watch the other stuff. All this jumping around, you're going to get confused. But it's all good.
Because we're in complete order.
Right.
From page 1.
Right, because we are so organized that it's just not going to work any other way. No, you can do whatever you want. Feel free to jump around.
Random is a way.
Yes, it is. Feel free to jump around. Don't you worry about it. On today's little episode, I am Darren O'Neill, and he's FJ Shark. You probably have, if you're here, you know him. You may not know me, and that's perfectly fine. But you can see I've got a Twitter address, and you can use that. So it'll be perfect. You can.
Your lower third works all the time. Mine works when it wants to.
Yeah, the Shark has technical difficulties more than
most.
Yeah, more than most. So today on this episode, we're going to delve into the first of the 10 Commandments of Sharks, because we figured why not start at number 1. So,
or just because it's number 1, do you want to really start with number 1, or is it our first segment? You'll just pick one at random type thing.
You never know. But we'll probably
throw it out there.
It's in the book. It's in the book, How to Be the Jerk Women Love. This is a paperback version. These are hard to get. If you want to buy this particular version, again, you see my name on Twitter. I'm taking bids right here. Of course, it helps. This one, let's see here. This one is to Bart. So if your name is Bart,
We've got your book.
It's an autographed copy. If I remember correctly, somebody actually ordered this, spent good money on it. The mail sent it back to you, and you never heard from him again, which is sad. Bart could be dead.
No, but we should say, we got to get the word out. We got to find Bart. This is the quest to find Bart.
If you can find Bart, let him know his book is here. His book
Bart
is
Simpson,
here.
maybe.
That was before Bart was cool, let me tell you. So now we have the 10 Commandments of Jerks. And this really, the interesting thing about this whole segment, or these 10 segments, and we'll put this in with this because it's number 1, was this really wasn't supposed to even be in the book.
Right.
Which is amazing to me, because from what I've heard from you, every radio and television show that you went on back in the day about the book, that's what they focused on.
If they asked me one question, that was it. Can you give us some of those 10 commandments? I'm like, you mean the part that almost didn't make it in the book? What?
Right. So if you're a writer, you never know what's going to work. You never know what's going to hit a chord. But I can see where this is interesting, because people want, it's like the David Letterman. It was the top 10 list. People want pithy. They want quick. They want to be able to get in. They want to be able to get out. And they want something simple to understand. And in this case, the 10 Commandments of Jerks, the number 1 commandment is, thou shalt never worry about the competition, because thy competition does not worry about thy. I like the old English biblical sound. About thy. So thy, tell me about this commandment, Shark.
That's 16 years of Catholic school coming out of me. So
I believe that. I believe that.
It's not that I repeated high school for another 4 years. It was 4 years of Catholic college. But just to clarify, I was in the advanced math. Didn't help. Yeah. So meaning, just like in business, they tell you to, mind your own business. Don't keep following what your competitors are doing, because your competitors could be going broke. And they're not going to tell you that. Robert Kiyosaki said that. That's the guy who wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it's like, do your own thing and don't worry about the next guy, because the next guy competing for that woman or for attention or in business is not worried about you. The people that succeed big time are the ones that worry about themselves. Again, they put the smile on their face first. They're 10% more selfish. Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, any of the great sports figures, they compete with themselves. If they competed only against other people, then they might be better than them or slightly better, but they hold themselves to a higher standard, and they compete against themselves to improve and be the best they could be, not worrying about what the other guy shot today, not worry about how many rebounds they got. You, by doing your best and by focusing on yourself and improving, that's all you need to do, because you're a tough enough competitor to, compete with and improve on yourself. That alone, will speak volumes, down the road, because one little 1% shift now, taken out over a week, a month, a year, you're a completely different person just by those little 1% shifts of trying to get better against yourself.
Right. And there are so many things that you have absolutely positively zero control over. And one, worrying about what your competition is doing. But if you worry about every little thing, it becomes the problem becomes you completely get stagnated, that you never make a move, you never move forward. And there are women that you're going to ask out who are with boyfriends or that are married or just don't want to go. It's a numbers game, but you never know until you get your shot, until you go and actually speak to somebody. That's a big thing, believe it or not. And if you're worried about what the other guy's going to do, I mean, it's really, if you come into it, and we've talked about this many a time before, let's just assume in a weird, perfect world, two guys walk into a nightclub at the exact same time, and there's only one hot girl in the middle. There's nothing else going on, and she's having a good time. She's dancing, and two guys walk in, and if you're the guy that is going, oh, gee, what should I say? Let me see. Maybe I should. Well, if the other guy's just walking right to her and going, hey, he's already kicking your ass, man.
Well, one of the new ideas that I've started on the Facebook group on the FJ Shark Tribe thing, I came up with Nice Guy Nick and Jake the Jerk. And this could be relatable to a lot of people, because the first example there was, by the time nice guy Nick is talking himself out of whatever he's supposed to do and get off his butt and do it, Jake the jerk has already done it. He already went out, got out there, like you said, went on the dance floor, and the quote, opportunity dances with those who are already on the dance floor. It's not going to happen when you're just sitting on the side. And Jake the jerk, even if he strikes out, at least he has that experience. Or because nobody else went up to the woman, she will say, oh yeah, I'd like to dance. Okay, fine. And then she'd be like, these other 30 guys or whoever didn't ask me before, and this guy did. So it's like your product being available. It's what's on the shelf. If nice guy Nick is sitting there thinking about it, it might be a better product, but it's not available. It's not there. It's not in the social marketplace. It's not in front of her. Therefore, she has to go with what's available and that she's aware of. So she has to settle for Jake the jerk.
Right. You got to get out of your own way first, and you got to make a move, and you got to do something. That's that's really the bottom line. And if you're too worried about what everybody else is doing, then you're going to fall behind. And really, it's one of those things to where you can sit there and try to figure out what's going to work on any particular woman, or any woman can sit there and wonder what's going to work with any particular guy. And you don't know. You really don't know until you try. So it's an interesting game, because there's no moves that are going to guarantee you anything, no matter what any of these other people try to sell you, that you can go pick up any woman in the world. No, it's different every time. And usually the simplest approach is going to be the one that works, and where you don't necessarily put the roadblock in front of yourself, and you definitely don't put the, if she's talking to some other guy at the bar, but they're not, if she's not like, she's like hanging on the guy and obviously into him, back away. You don't want to get involved in that. But if you see a woman sitting at a bar or something talking to a guy, and you can usually read body language pretty well, and she looks bored as shit, that is your time to walk up. That is your time to not worry about what he's doing, and pull the old, hey, I'm sorry I'm late, and then oh yeah, oh, good to see you. Then you're in. Try it. You'll like it.
You'll like it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Try it. You'll like it. We're closing out on that one, huh? That is the first commandment. Thou shalt not worry about thy, only about thus. Or I don't speak Old English.
What I've done in the past is I keep answering and keep going, and before you know it, I've covered like 3 other ones in my answer for the first one, and then they ask me the third one. I'm like, yeah, remember what I just said? Yeah, I kind of covered that one. Sorry.
So until the next episode, I am Darren O'Neill. He is FJ Shark. Bum, bum, ba, dun, 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 dun. I always want to play the Sanford and Son song. Can maybe we can maybe get that, so we could just use that for the whole series? That would be cool. That would be awesome.
Do one where it's like you're just gonna, you're back, and you're gonna, because somebody's like, this isn't, you're not just going spontaneous. You guys worked all this out.
If they know anything about our podcast, we have never worked anything out in the history of podcasts. I used to do that, but that was when I was covering like politics, in which case you had to know what you were talking about. I've never prepared for a Man Cave Confidential show. I mean,
we'll get one piece of news.
Right.
We just go.
You walk in and you start with a story, and the next thing you know, it's 2 hours later and the podcast is in the can. And you go on a specific rant, because that's really what what works.
We'll read that. Went and pissed him off.
We'll read that pop rocks are bad for you. That's how it'll all start. And
right. This is how you prepare for this show. Pop rocks and grape crush. You wonder why we're hyper. It's pop rocks and grape fucking crush. It works. It works. It works. It works.
Those are our stage names. Pop rocks and grape crush.
I want to be Grape Crush. That's awesome. That's a great name. How you doing, everybody? I'm Grape Crush, here to talk to you here on the show. Here with my buddy Pop Rocks.
Pop Rocks.
then you just hear that sound of the crackling. You put some in and go, and you see what comes out. If you drink Pop Rocks and Grape Crush at the same time, your stomach explodes. It's awesome.
And that's the chemistry of the show.
Right. If people think, I tell you what, if people think we prepare for this shit, obviously we should be getting paid a lot of money to do this show. If you think there is preparation in what we do, it really isn't. Maybe we should do, because it's probably
behind the scenes.
Right. We're behind the scenes. There should be like passed out hookers and stuff in the background. At least just paint.
I need to clean up.
Clean up in aisle 6. If you watch the Blacklist, there's Reddington has his own cleanup crew, and that's when the old lady comes in with the cleaners when there's like a mass murder scene, and they just come in with their gloves on, singing. And of course, in one of the last episodes, a crew came and killed the cleaners, but that's really beside the point. It gets really messy, but it's a good show. If you've never seen the Blacklist,
I've seen parts, but
James Spader plays a perfect psychopath.
Oh yeah,
I'm assuming in real life he's probably a perfect psychopath because he plays them.
From Boston Legal, when they do that last 5 minutes with him and William Shatner, they'd be on the balcony smoking their cigars, giving like the recap. That was awesome.
James Spader, William Shatner, two crazier motherfuckers you won't find in a single show on network television. Let me tell you.
Now there's a podcast.
Yeah. And for the next show, I could rant about the Blue Cross Blue Shield, but that might take over an hour. These motherfuckers. Yes. I tell you, man, Obamacare making everything better. My ass. My fucking ass. I realized, because I signed up for Blue Cross Blue Shield, right?
Right.
And so I changed this year because my plan that I had last year ended up sucking eggs so bad that I decided to find a better provider, spend a little bit more money. So the first month went, which is all great. I know when I originally bought the stuff online, when I signed up, I know that I had my name as the username. And so it came time to pay the bill. So I wanted to go in and pay the bill. So I'm like, I didn't see a password written down. I have a password manager. I save passwords every time I create one. So I don't believe I created an account with them, which is maybe true, maybe not. So I called up like on the first of the month. I called it like 9 a.m, and it's like, hey, we're experiencing a high level of calls. You'll be answered in like a half hour. And I'm like,
oh God.
That. Like, fuck that. So later on in the day, we were doing some shit. Got back home about 4 o'clock, called again. Hey, we're experiencing a high level of calls. Your wait time is 23 minutes. If you don't want to wait the 23 minutes, you won't lose your place in line. Click here, and then it's like, it asks for my name, and is this the same phone number? Yes. You will be getting a call back in approximately 23 minutes. Well, 4:23 came, 4:24, 4:25, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock came. No, nobody's calling back. 6 o'clock, Call again. It just said there's a high level of calls. They didn't give me a time. I waited on the fucking hold for another 45 minutes. Nobody ever picked it up, hung up, still have not got a fucking call back.
Wow.
This is like 4 days later, 3-4 days later. Never got a fucking call back. So I went to, which is probably what I should have done in the first place. I went to Twitter and actually got an answer from somebody who, of course, didn't follow me at first, so I couldn't direct message them. But then they followed me, and I sent them my information, and they just responded back with, it doesn't look like you have an account, so just register. You'll have to use another name because somebody's using Darren O'Neill. And I'm like, that's fucking me! When I went into your system and said, forgot username, and gave them my email address, it emailed me back my username, which is my fucking name. And I responded back. They never responded back to that. So I guess I'll have to try signing up again, but it's like, you tell somebody that you're going to fucking call them back in 23 minutes. This is a fucking major corporation, health insurance, and never to get a call back. I understand maybe you're late, you're overwhelmed, but if you say you're going to fucking call somebody back in 23 minutes, it's days later and you've never fucking taken care of the problem. It's like, healthcare system, yay! Cocksuckers. That was just a little rant in the middle of the Man Cave Confidential, just to prove to you.
It's a shame they're a sponsor. We'll have to.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what they have all their money. Well, it's like fucking Planned Parenthood giving like $20 million to the Democrats. Oh, but I thought they were so underfunded. You know, I'm telling you, poor people can't fucking give $20 million donations to candidates. Just saying.
More math. Oh no.
I hate math. Hey, you know, we could because I don't know if it really will go directly into any of these, but should we do a little segment on, just call it maybe an additional to the book, about texting and social media, since it didn't exist here?
Well, I don't really have anything
like best practices. I mean, how, you know, again, like just like, well, what do you ask for now? You know, I mean, do we want to hash this out on a show? I mean, just kind of, maybe it's just something we can add that is more of a, you know, just back and forth conversation about like, hey, how do you do this now? I mean, because it used to be, you only had one question, was what's your phone number? Right? I mean, that back in the day, kids, that's all you had was what's your phone number? You know, now what is it? It's like, well, is it still your phone number so you can text? Is it, you know, what's your Twitter handle, or what's your, you know, you want to, you know, hit me up on Facebook, or, I mean, this is an interesting new world we're in.
Right. But I'm all from the school of getting them really interested so that they're offering you the phone number or the Facebook or the whatever. So going in there cold, that was not my expertise of going in cold and asking for the order in 30 seconds. You know,
you were playing hard to get.
Yeah. I tried to switch the whole thing around. So you're
like, I'm confused. Why aren't you asking me out? And you're like, why aren't you asking me out? Oh,
why aren't you telling me a joke?
Right. What do you got?
That's all you got?
Two lesbians walk into a bar.
Now
the third one ducks.
Now you deserve hunka Boyne and Ted.
No. So this girl tells this guy a joke. And then take it from there.
Get off my phone, you little pinhead. Get off my phone!
Another satisfied customer.
Right. Another satisfied caller at the FJ Shark Channel Palooza.
Channel Palooza.
FJ Shark Channel Palooza.
We're going to stay on until YouTube kicks us off for too much recording time.
I think they give us like 8 hours. As far as I know, I mean, I believe we're live on YouTube right now. So there's a possibility. I don't know if there's a way to tell, but there's a possibility that there are viewers. It says no viewers here, but I don't know if that's only on the Hangout or if that is on YouTube as well.
Maybe we should have told somebody, like at least the subscribers, that like, hey, it's on.
Like maybe next time. It's like, hey, well, we can do an Ask FJ Shark. You know, let's just steal the whole Gary Vee process and just be like, Ask FJ Shark. You know, if you have questions, you know, get these. Well, we tried that once before. And nobody wanted to send questions. So it's like, if you can get motherfuckers to send questions, then we got.
I'm half tempted to send an email. If you could get me a link, like what you'd send to the visitors or the audience thing, I will send that out live and see if anybody comes. That would be interesting. Yeah, if there's some way you can get me a link.
Well, I believe it's that same link that, you know, it's that as far as to come in and
like an invitation, so that they're not a host though, or you know, so that they're a visitor or a viewer.
Yeah, I hear you. Let me see here. Let me pop into YouTube and see if we have a currently live thing going on. Popular right now. Well, that's not us.
We're trending.
That would be fucking scary, wouldn't it? It's like, oh, we are showing Man Cave Confidential video podcast. It's showing live now. So we click on that.
My God, it's stories. You had to have sound bites that got to the point, and it's on a delay in case we swear our heads off. Things that people already knew and apply them to.
Obviously, they can. Looks like they can. Okay, let me close that now. If I can send you that YouTube link
through Facebook or where?
I guess there is like a video embed right here. I guess that's what I just pulled up here. No, through here because I don't have, or I can do it through the. I can send it, email it to you, or I can. Where's that little chat room thing here? We can open up that little on the top left, that little chat thing. FJ Shark has left group chat. So I can just send you the link there.
Group chat, this thing?
Yeah.
That's comment tracker. We're on the left?
Group chat.
Here.
It's the top thing on the left.
Oh, okay. Okay, so now
that whole
if I click
watch.
Yeah, if I click that, is that gonna?
It'll open up in another window probably, or if you can right click, it'll give you a copy link address.
Okay, that gets me there where I'm seeing it. Group chat, this thing. That's comment tracker. We're on the left. Yeah. Group chat. Yeah.
Hey, we're on a delay, man. So now you got that whatever that YouTube address is there. If you send that out to people, they'll be like, "You're live, motherfuckers." It shows one viewer, so obviously that did. So when I pop that up, so it actually shows you how many people are live, man. Now it shows 0 because we closed that window. Hey,
we lost them. We already pissed somebody off.
We lost our viewers. We're recording all of this for no good reason.
Nice.
We're here to take questions for the shark. We'll play some music. Thank you for coming along on the NPR radio showgram. We are here and you're queer. How you doing, everybody?
Maybe go through the chapter titles or something that maybe people could vote.
You're like, what's a voting? Hey, what's a voting? How you doing, everybody? 1, 2, 3, voting. How you doing? Let me pop this bitch into this bitch. Jello. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, 1, 0, 2, 0. 3, 0, 4, 0. In your 1, 2, 3, 0. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Is that like still pulling other shit out of here? Let's see. 1, 2, 3. I need to learn which buttons are which.
Would help, said the pilot.
Uh-huh. That's not important at all. Don't you worry about it. I was just bypassing that motherfucker so I can see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I was just trying to see if it sounded better with it going through the old setup here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, 19, 21, hike 2, hike 1, 2, hike 2, hikey 3, hikey 4, hikey 1, 2, Damanoki 1, 2. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3. Hey, everybody. 1, 2, 3. This is the way. 1, 2, 3. We're live. Did you send that link out?
It's going.
There you send that link. You're like, we're live right now. We're taking questions. We're, what are we doing again? We're taking,
Lock up your daughters and call up your mothers, or something like that now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You are listening to the Man Cave Confidential podcast.
At least
What should we? You still there? I lost you.
yes, I'm here.
Oh.
I am here. Wow, what happened there? It's like, ooh, wait. Oh, I guess you got to turn this back up. Yeah, I guess that helps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 74, 98. Let's get some callers. How you doing, everybody? Looking for the viewers. Or are we? Are we looking for the view? I'm never sure. Are we looking for viewers? Do we want them to come in? Do we want to see what's the what kind of questions that they have for F? J. What's the J stand for?
John.
Frank John Shark. Hey, Mr. Professor knew a lot about Johns. He was a John. He died a John. Something like that. Amen. Yeah, it's not nice to speak ill of the dead. Well, then why are you doing it? I don't know. It's fun. I don't know. It's what do you say? 1, 2, 3. What's the next segment? That's the question. We can pull a segment out of our ass, and then you see if anybody shows up. If nobody shows up, we then go out and find them.
What is this?
What?
We'll have to do this. You know, it would help if I just had this ready, and then you just give me the link and go.
And then you rock, you roll, you do things. Go out, learn things. Tell me about it. How you doing, everybody? Go out and learn things. Learn things. Go out, learn things. What now? Who? Why? What? When? Who? Why? What? When? Where? However and ever.
Ever and ever.
Ever and ever. Amen. This is the FJ Shark Show featuring FJ Shark. Un momento. Bum, 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 alrighty. I think we're back. I think we're back in business. Oh wow, we are really bringing them. We are bringing the pain now, my friend. We was really bringing the pain, bringing the pain, bringing the pain, pain. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, I turned off the compressor on that end, so I guess I should actually put the a little bit of a compressor back on, as to not want to blow the world down. Everybody, how you doing? 1, 2, 3. FJ Shark taking questions, taking answers. Woo!
Amen.
Wait, taking questions and leaving answers is the proper way. I don't know what it is. Welcome to NPR Book Talk. Okay, I know where we're going now. We gotta be. We gotta be. You know what I'm saying, man? When I say we gotta be, I just mean we gotta be. We gotta be. We gotta be one. We gotta be. We gotta be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Got to get that compressor dialed in. And I think it is, so to be like a fairly consistent, even if I'm a little further, a little back up. Okay. Let me give myself a little mark. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the FJ Shark channel. I am Darren O'Neill. You know FJ Shark. That's why you're on his channel. We've been talking. We're doing a little series. We're talking about the book. We're talking about things in the book. How to Be the Jerk. Women Love. It's still available at womenfiguredout.com for, what are you charging, $168.47 now? It gets more every time I look at it. There must be like 3 books left, so they're getting more and more valuable
as time goes on.
Right. They're collector's items. They're collector's items. But on today's little segment, I wanted to talk about Chapter 3, The Diamond Player. You took some crap for this, and maybe we should have a higher tech show, but if you can read that, women are like dogs. The more you beat them, the more they love you. Words of a convicted wife beater. Why are you giving space to a convicted wife beater in the book? What's this all about?
To prove a point that, I don't condone or agree with wife beating and all that. And when my first audio recording interview went out, they played it right before a segment of wife beating in America. And I'm like, who was the marketing genius behind this that put that and then my show? So from that point on, I would, say that I don't agree with or, support wife beating, but it's like, that's what women will go back to with a jerk. They will keep going back to that type of guy. And I always wanted to know why. If you're a nice guy, you don't get sold in the social marketplace, yet women keep going back to jerks and wife beaters and offering them as much sex and everything else that they want. Then it's okay.
So one of these talk shows actually put you on. It was on the wife beater show.
Right. Well, it was Sunday morning. It was already, the show I did was already recorded, and I didn't know where it was going to be. They just told me the time, and it was on a Chicago radio show. I think it was The Blaze at the time.
The Blaze,
which had all rock and roll except for like Sunday morning had a bunch of talk shows, and they did a segment on, as I said, like wife beating and domestic abuse. And then my show was coming up at 6 or 7 a.m. the next.
And then
one.
here's FJ Shark.
I'm like, oh my gosh! It's like I think Arnold Schwarzenegger was on right before them or right after me, and then they had a senator. It's like all different type of topics going on, and I'm like, who is the genius that put me after that?
Well, somebody who knew exactly how to get ratings, obviously, that knew how talk radio works. I mean, that's in the 80s, it was shock radio, and there's still some of that around, but obviously maybe not as much anymore. But it's an interesting quote and an interesting point that maybe people don't understand or didn't understand at the time, which is why women stay with guys that are obviously not worthy of them staying with.
Well, yeah, and then you got somebody who is what looked like a good investment in what I call the social marketplace. They would, be loyal. Nice guys were, they had a good job. They had a good future for them. They studied in school. They got good grades, and I always compare them to like a blue chip company that was stable and had predictable earnings, and you invest in them and you're pretty much set. Whereas jerks were like the penny stocks. It was more risky. You didn't know if you were going to get your money back. It was definitely not a good long-term investment, but boy, were they fun to invest in. Same deal.
Same deal. A lot of fun. And it just shows women can make really bad decisions, guys. So they might date you too.
Well, that's the thing. It's like,
I know that's not the point you were getting at.
No, but the point is for nice guys that you're probably trying too hard. You're trying too hard. You're doing too much. The jerk that's going to steal your woman didn't study neurolinguistic programming, didn't go to a bunch of seminars on how to improve his listening skills, and yet he somehow becomes the better opportunity or better investment of her time in the social marketplace. I want to know why that is, and if so, how he's able to pull that off, because obviously the nice guys don't have the monopoly in the social marketplace. It's the jerks who are busy, as I say, putting the smile on their face first, being more selfish, doing their own thing, chasing their passions and desires and whatever business or career things they want to do in life, and the women are chasing them. Meanwhile, Mr. Nice Guy can't get the woman to call him back. That's because she's too busy chasing Mr., as I say, Jake the jerk.
Now, did this come down to the fact that the nice guys just aren't asking? Is that the problem, or does it go deeper than that?
If they're not, well, that's a huge point of it. If you're not even going to ask, but I mean, the idea that it's just not getting bought either. Even if you're asking, you become if you ask her out or just to talk to her, she's constantly checking her watch. She is always preoccupied with something else. She is thinking, oh, well, that guy I met at the gym last week, will he call me back?
That's a bad sign.
That's a bad sign. So, I mean, you got all those type of, factors, and it doesn't look good for, Nick the nice guy here.
It seems like Nick the nice guy never wins.
Is it
just never wins?
Educate people on this.
You're like, what's going on? I mean, well, it's a, it's interesting because you say, Nick the nice guy, and it's like you're not advocating, and this is probably the biggest thing that people have gotten wrong, because we do judge a book by the cover and by the title, and how to be the jerk. I mean, it's very, even clearly there in a, different colored font. You're really not telling people how to be a jerk. You're telling them how to compete against the jerks.
Right. You don't have to change everything about yourself, but I'm saying at least figure out why it's not selling. Good marketing could improve any product. You could have the reason why the jerks are able to sell themselves so well is because of the marketing and the hype they have behind themselves, selling a average or below average product. Nice guys are the better product with poor marketing, and it just sits there on the shelf.
We're going back to sell your pickle, right? I mean, that's pretty much what this comes down to, is that, you got to throw your hat in the game.
Yes. And by the way, we already have one person that opened it and one person that clicked the link.
Well, we have 3 viewers currently. So if you have questions for FJ Shark, we're kind of doing a bunch of little videos for the FJ Shark YouTube channel. If you have questions, feel free to jump on into
and we sent chat. This live as is. So that was us getting the link and putting it in there. Okay, so I guess
live on the internet.
I guess it went.
You guess it went. So yeah, you can jump on. You could also, if you have a question, you could feel free to tweet it over to FJ Shark at FJ Shark. That may be the easiest and quickest way to do that. But we're going through some stuff in the book, and we're talking about the fact that the book is, a little bit, while it is older, I was asking when we were going to have an updated version, when we were going to talk about things like, texting, which wasn't around, the internet, and all of that. And the interesting answer that the Shark gave me was that the technology is irrelevant, because you're not really using most of it when you go by his theory, which is it's pretty much to play hard to get, right? I mean, and most guys never want to do this, because you got to put yourself up in front of, you're saying put yourself into their space, into their general proximity, and kind of hope that they're going to, you're not totally ignoring them, but you're not actually
not pursuing them either, because you have to be the train that they want to jump on. Hey, you have to have enough going on in your life with your passions, your ideas, your goals that you want to do, that they're like, this is a guy who's full of excitement and energy, and I want to be around him and help him accomplish things and be, and offer my time to him, so that I don't care about Mr. Nice Guy who keeps calling me. He doesn't have anything going on, and he's just worried about what movie to take me to or what I want to do. Well, women don't want that type of responsibility. It's like, here's Mr. Nice Guy again, trying to please her and say, well, what do you want to do? I'm here for you. I'm Mr. Customer Service Agent. I'm here to help you and make sure you have a good time. The jerk is more interested in pleasing himself and what movie he wants to go see. Might not even be something that she wants to see, but she wants to be with him, so she will continue to follow him. Well, in order to get somebody to follow you, you have to lead, and the nice guys won't do that. They want to be one step behind the woman and say, well, what do you want to do? Because I want to please you. They come from this pleasing, or what's that word? Not accepting, or there's a approval seeking mentality, and the women will just chew that up and spit it out, because it seems like you're always trying to pursue them where they want to spend their time pursuing somebody else who they think is the leader, in charge, out in front, and can direct. The women don't want to be out in front and directing. They want to be like turning around and dancing and being a woman.
Right. Well, it's interesting because we see the problems on both sides for men and women come down to low self-esteem. That really does. The women with low self-esteem are the ones that don't think they deserve the guy who's going to treat them well. The guys with no self-esteem are never going to approach the women that they actually want to date. So it really comes down to a pretty simple factor to get things at least kicked off, which is, get over the fact that, to get over that self-esteem problem. And there's probably 1,000 different ways to do that. But what is your suggestion for, since this is mainly dealing with guys, how do you get over that self-esteem problem and realize that you're playing in a numbers game, and that no matter what job you have and what you look like or anything, that there's probably a hot woman out there that you want to date that will date you, but you just have to play that numbers game to get there?
Well, like anything, it's a skill, and repetition's the mother of skill, says Tony Robbins and company. But the idea, like, say you want to learn something, people ask me all the time, they want to work on their passions, their ideas, what they want to do with their life, and get that organized. And they say, well, if only I had more confidence, then I can maybe go be a better dancer until I gain the confidence. And that's reversed. You're not going to gain confidence from dancing by thinking about it or reading about it. You have to get out there and do it, even if you're by yourself. Dancing with Myself, Billy Idol, thank you very much. But I mean, whatever type of skill, I want to learn to play the guitar. Well, again, you're not going to read about it. You have to go do it. Everybody that has played a guitar sounded horrible when they first played. Anybody that wrote a song, their first song probably sucked. They ride a bike. Everybody falls off riding the bike. You have to fall off the 20, 30, 40, 50 times in order for you to gain the experience, which then gives you the confidence to do it. Confidence comes from doing, comes from the actual experience that you have it. That's why you feel comfortable with it, because you already did it. Well, you're going to mess up. That's part of the numbers. So like you said, you have to get those out of the way. If you are a salesman and it takes 10 no's to get to a sale, then let's get those first 9 no's out of the way as quickly as possible. Now, if the person on number 6 actually wants to buy, you'll be like, well, I don't care if you say yes or no. I don't care, because I'm on to the next one. I got to get to my 10 for the day. And by having that more relaxed attitude and creating a better atmosphere, that person's going to say, well, you're obviously have done this before. You're obviously experienced, and you're not just here desperate for the sale. You're here to either help me or move on, because you're an experienced salesperson. That's how they handle it. You're not coming from a place of lack or need or scarcity. You never want to operate from scarcity. You always want to operate from abundance, that you already have enough. And like my golden phrase of those that don't look hungry are the ones that get fed.
Oh, another line out of the book. We're going to pull that. But it really, one of the things, and it's I'm not sure if you hit on it specifically, but I remember just from reading The Game and a few of these other pickup artist books along the way, that one of the basic steps, one of the basic suggestions that actually made sense to me, because a lot of the stuff just didn't make sense. It didn't, learning different big programs didn't make sense. But on the self-esteem front, the concept that you could go to a busy shopping mall or out to a ball game, somewhere that you're going to find at least 100 women in a generalized area, that if you approach them and say hi, they're not going to mace you. I mean, don't wait in the parking lot, the dark parking lot out by their car or something. Not a good idea. But go out into a public place and just say hi to 100 women. Say hello. If you have to ask, hey, can you tell me what time it is? Can you ask, where's the Starbucks? Pull out something like that. Pull out a question and just really, that's all you're doing. But you're going to understand after you do that, out of 100 women, probably only one or two, and this is depending where you are in the world, I suppose, are probably going to tell you, oh, get the hell away from me. In polite society, most of them, if not all of them, are going to smile, tell you the time, tell you where the Starbucks, whatever they're carrying. If they're in a shopping mall and they're carrying a bag from, whatever store, Victoria's Secret. Oh, I need to buy something for my girlfriend. Where's the Victoria's Secret store? They're going to give you an answer. And you're going to realize by doing that simple little thing that there's, like you said just a moment ago, that you do this all the time, that just the whole concept of getting over the fear of speaking to somebody, once that's gone, your batting average is going to go way up, because once you find somebody that you want to get into a relationship with, ask out whatever it is, if you approach them and you feel really, really nervous and you can't even eke out a hello, you're never going to get there. You're never going to get that yes. But once you get over that self-esteem issue, you're going to do much better, because you're going to be more relaxed, and that more relaxed is also going to every woman that talks to you and says, hey, you might get lucky. I mean, the shark, what was it, last year, 2 years ago, was at the local fest, the fall fest, and right. You asked a woman who you really just wanted coffee. You saw a woman that had coffee, and you asked where she got the coffee, and I think she mistakenly thought you were trying to pick her up and seemed a little disappointed when you just wanted coffee.
Like, why didn't somebody should be writing this down? It's like, okay, like, and that's all. And I'm like, I guess that was a great opening line, but yeah, I just wanted coffee. Sorry, but yeah.
Well, there's something to be said about your concept of, again, to oversimplify, playing hard to get. Because if you start a conversation with a woman, again, where'd you get that coffee? Now, I'm just going to give you a simple little bit of advice here, guys. If she tells you where she got the coffee and then says, I'll show you, let her. If she then asks you a question like, hey, where'd you get that shirt, jacket, whatever, that's really nice. If she starts asking you questions, understand that is, while not a guaranteed sign, right, that is probably a sign that she's somewhat interested. Because really, when you're dealing with any kind of relationships, time is the currency, right? Time is the currency. And most people will at least politely give you an answer to a question if you ask them. If they start giving you more of their time via their own free will, that probably means you're in a pretty good spot if you're interested. So if you're pulling the whole say hi to 100 women and you get a fish on the line, if you will, understand that if they're trying to give you more of their time, maybe take yes for an answer and, reel them in a little bit.
Or yes. And to practice, I mean, waitresses, tellers at the bank, people like that are paid to be nice to you. So practice on them. You don't have to create a sexual harassment situation,
right.
but
yeah, please avoid that.
But I'm saying at least, I remember working with a guy who, I think he was in his 50s, and he thought that he could maybe, go to it was either a quilting or coloring, the adult coloring book that's sweeping the nation, to relieve stress and stuff. Now more adults are doing this coloring. And he did that where he joined some sort of a coloring group at his church or park district or something. And he was getting halfway decent results with that. Why? Because he was one of few guys who was actually doing this in a room full of women. So the odds go way up that you're going to succeed when you do that. And you're just being there for another reason. I've always had an excuse to be somewhere around the other women. Therefore, it just kind of happened naturally that you were talking, not going in cold. Hey, before you get on that bus, can I have your phone number? That you're not going to get good results with that. You have to kind of put the odds in your favor and be around. Like I said, he found a topic or an activity that he liked to do and thought this would be a great way to meet women. And not many guys wanted to do that. So he had the whole room to himself.
Well, when you put yourself into a situation like a bar or something like that, one, women immediately feel like they're meat, like they're on display, like everybody's just, like she's there to get hit on, which is also going to take the odds right away from you. And so getting into a more relaxed setting, I mean, granted, you don't always have that possibility, but if you can get into a more relaxed setting, you're probably going to do better. Is your house on fire there? I'm hearing a lot of bells.
We have alarms going off. We have
right.
This is just at home, laid back and relaxed. And on that note, yeah.
Just sipping on some gin and juice if we can get a little bit of Snoop Dogg playing in the background.
This has been one heck of an episode. We've had the short times and the lengthy behind the scenes footage, and yeah. If you want, I'll stop the timer. If you want,
how long does it go off? Is this just a part of the show?
It's all been planned out ahead of time.
It's all part of the Sharks' great system for picking up women is have an alarm going off
to show how spontaneous we are. So
because you will get noticed if you're in the middle of a crowd and you have an alarm going off. Most likely you're going to get noticed. But it's one of those things where, I think you're 100% right in that approaching somebody is not easy for a lot of people. So you need to get over that. But once you do, it lowers the bar in your own mind. If you have a, something set in mind, whether it's just, hey, what's the time? Where'd you get that cup of coffee? And you're starting a conversation completely relaxed because you're not putting any stock into it. You're not putting that big weight on your shoulder going up to somebody like, oh, she's really hot, she's the girl I really want to talk to, and then you get up there and go, you want to bring that stress level down as far as you possibly can.
Well, one of the main ones here, great point before we leave, is to go to a community college and take a class, hopefully with other there hopefully be other women in the class, because if it's too guy focused, then you just shot yourself in the foot. But
yeah, the sociology of sports or something like that, avoid that.
if because you're in a relaxed setting, and for some reason about going to school with somebody, there's that trust factor that you walk in with credibility, you walk in with a higher level of trust, rather than if you met that same person on the street. You're meeting him in a classroom, and even if you said, oh, can you get me my pencil, or can you, what page are we on? Simple small talk that gets it going. By the second or third class, you might have a girlfriend. Well, you're right. I was never one to get the girlfriend within 1 minute. I'm not here to say that. I want to be put in the situation where, like you said, they're going to want to chase you, because they are going to go home and wonder and talk to their girlfriends and go, oh, start talking to this guy in class. I wonder why he didn't ask me out. You want to get it to that point, not be so aggressive that you're like, hey, back off, pal.
Right. Too aggressive won't work. Too passive doesn't work either. Again, read the signals and you'll go a lot further. So this was just a little impromptu. We were doing a bunch of short little segments. For those of you watching live, we normally do a full-length podcast. We'll be starting to do those live with regularity. So if you have questions, you can hit us up still at mailbag@mancaveconfidential.com, which is a podcast FJ Shark and I do about all things guys talk about. But you can also get him questions at Twitter at FJ Shark, and you can follow him there, obviously. And you can follow me on Twitter if you have questions for me at Darren O'Neill. It's down in the little lower third there.
And also the Man Cave Confidential, just search for that on YouTube for our
yes, you can search
video
for that
podcast
on YouTube. And we have old audio. So when we were just doing audio, the good old days, you can go to the website at mancaveconfidential.com. We will be relaunching the store briefly with all of the audio from the Sharks, including from the best-selling book, How to Be the Jerk Women Love. We have audio, and we have a bunch of different audio programs that you've done, which will be available back on the website. They were for a while. We moved servers, so it'll be back up.
The audio was so old it was in black and white.
Wait a minute, like it was
used to model
on
socks.
cassette tape.
Yeah, I used to model socks on the radio. Takes a while. Doesn't click in.
You're an absolutely funny guy. Mailbag at mancaveconfidential.com. Again, if you want to get a hold of either one of us, and tell a friend, hook them up with the podcast, and tell them about the FJ Shark channel. We're going to be doing a bunch of little segments and posting those on FJ Shark's YouTube, which is basically going to be updating a lot of the stuff in the book with a little bit more of a modern twist to it. And that way we can spread the word on that. It's absolutely positively free. FJ Shark is still alive. That's a good thing. Some people haven't seen him in a few years. So it's good to see you alive and well, Shark. And until the next time, I am Darren O'Neill.
And I'm FJ Shark.
Later. And we have this music. Now, usually if this was on a real video, we'd have, the logo and all that other. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for taking the time. Thanks for joining us here live. And
we're still here.
Yeah, we'll start doing that. Right. We're still here. They're still here.
It's the after show.
We're all still here. So I'm assuming you have the mailing list. You're going to be sending these things out live when we're doing the show.
Maybe a little more prep rather than just like as we're recording.
Right. Instead of halfway through as we're recording a bunch of little bits. It was just a test. It was a test of the emergency shark system to see who was going to show up. You did. Thank you very much for doing so. We truly appreciate it. And well, I guess we should have like on Twitter, put the links out when we're live. So we're going to get the system down. Don't worry about it. The content is there. The shark can't sit still for more than 3 or 4 minutes at a time.
Muffins are ready.
Muffins are ready. We'll be ending the broadcast now. Thanks again for showing up.
What did one muffin say to another?
I don't know if I want to know this.
Holy shit, a talking muffin.
Later, everybody. Later.